Hey y'all, welcome back to Right at the Wire. Today we're going to recap the Derby preparations that were run over the weekend, the Florida Derby that was run at Gulfstream, and the Arkansas Derby that was run at Oaklawn. So let's take a look. So the first one we're going to look at is the Florida Derby, and as you can see, nice sunny day, so we had no problems, and that was always nice to see. Makes it easier to evaluate. And you see pretty level beginning. A little bit of a surprise, even though Fort Bragg was a little slow out of the gate, he rushed right to the front. He had a little seam there and he took it. Forte just moved over and, really wasn't impacted too much by the post. He just had to take back a little farther. The big surprise, Mage, again for the second straight start, broke poorly, and it just shows that while he's talented, he's definitely green. So a couple things to be thinking about. Here was my long shot play. Mr. Peaks was looking pretty good here, but that didn't last, as we know. Just trying to find value, try to make a ticket out of this. Cyclone Mischief got right where he needed to be and rated pretty well, and didn't do bad in this race. But again, that's of the schizophrenic nature. Just when you think he's going to have a bad race, he comes back and he runs a good one. So. Mr. Ripple was fairly prominent throughout and ran a big race at 45-1. And if you had to try at the Super, I know you were really happy because it made for a nice ticket. So now you can see that Forte's just meandering and making his way up very easily. And here comes Mage. Really smart move by the jockey, I thought, to take it early and bust the race open and try to get the jump on Forte. I think that was the right move. And at this point, you have to believe that Forte's kind of up against it and that he's going to really have to turn on the jets if he's going to have any hope in this one. But you see, right about here, he just kicks it into another gear, and away he goes. And I just think he showed a ton of class and showed why he is the favorite to win the Derby with that little move right there, because all hope appeared to be lost. And again, Mike Rapoli overjoyed as always. So really nice effort on Forte's part. Now let's take a look at the Arkansas Derby from Oaklawn. And you can see it was a nice, finally got rid of the rain at Oaklawn. Now they've had real problems with that. So you see a nice break here. As expected, Two Eagles River was keen to get up on the lead with Harlow Cap for token presence. And Bourbon Bash forwardly placed. Reincarnate moved along nicely to get up to stalk, which we kind of expected. And Rocket Can rating just behind them. And he became the favorite, but that was more because Frank Fletcher, a local owner, had never won the Arkansas Derby. And so I think sentimentally a lot of people knew that, so they bet him down. Rocket Kent did not run a bad race, but I think he demonstrated he's a cut below the better because he really didn't have it in the stretch and just sort of flattened out, finished a dull fifth, I believe. But you see here, Two Eagles River off to fractions were decent. I wouldn't say they were quick. I wouldn't say they were slow. They were pretty about average. And you see Angel of Empire just raiding back there, biding his time. Red Route run at the back of the pack again. Every signal was he was going to be more forwardly placed, and he, again, gave himself way too much to do, and this time he didn't even finish in the money. So, I just don't get this strategy, and until they fix it, he's third or fourth in the Derby at best. So now you see Angel of Empire, he swung out, and he just inhaled this field. Boy, you really love to see that big acceleration when they push the button, and the race is over at this point, and they're all playing for second. King Russell ran a huge race. I don't know where that one came from, but local horse, so I know that makes the people at Oakland happy, but it killed my exacta. But anyway, you see just drawing off, full of run. Clearly one of the top Derby contenders now, just gets better every race and was absolutely the star of this show. Really just ultra impressive in my book.
2023 Arkansas Derby winner Angel of Empire.
Some thoughts on the Derby preps. The Florida Derby, Forte demonstrated how classy he really is. All hope looked lost with a furlong left, and he just found another gear to close it out. And I just think that shows how impressive he is. He may not have been 100% for the race. I don't know that for sure, but I think you saw that even when the circumstances were a little adverse for him, that he was able to recover, and it really didn't matter very much. And he beat a field he should have beaten, for sure. So he checks the box on that one, and he's a deserving favorite for the Derby, to be sure. Mage ran another really nice race. His jockeys, to be credited, made a really big move to bust the race open, and I think that was this really smart move. And but for Forte's special qualities, he would have won the race. He's still really green, though, and he broke poorly again, and they're obviously going to have to school him a lot more, because if he does that in the Derby, there's just no way. But he clearly has some talent, and it'll be pretty exciting to see where he goes from here. Cyclone Mischief, I think he's just a cut below. I mean, he ran a better race. He seems to be improving mentally. But I think that's about the best he can do, and if that's the case, he's just not good enough. So if he does run in the Derby, I mean, I think maybe a pace presence of some kind, but I think that's the best he has to offer. Fort Bragg, we're done with him. He looked pretty good early on, finding that seam and getting to the lead from the 10 hole. But he just didn't follow through, and it just goes to show what we're seeing is that these Bafferts are a pretty mediocre bunch, save for Cave Rock, Arabian Night, and National Treasure. They're just not factoring in these races, and now Reincarnate's the only one standing. We're done with Fort Bragg, needless to say. The Arkansas Derby, Angel of Empire, just, that Derby progression, he's quintessential there. He's just getting better every race. He's loving the added ground, and I think a mile and a quarter is going to meet him right between the eyes. Drew off with authority, where you want to see it, and he looks like he's got some really nice acceleration, and I'm really excited to see this horse. I think he's now definitely in the top 3 amongst Derby contenders. Rocket Can, as we noted, I think he's kind of plateaued. I think he's gone as far as he's going to go. He's a nice horse. You got to credit for Bill Mott for getting the best out of him. But I think this is that's about as good as he's going to do. So I'd say he's a middle of the pack, a Derby contender, and I can't really like him very much for a win. Reincarnate had a pretty uneventful third, you'd have to say. He's a grinder. He doesn't have that big acceleration that you'd like to see. He just kind of wears you down. He's more one-paced. I like him better for the Belmont than I do for the Derby because of the stamina edge. But I think he can be a factor in the Derby, but I think he demonstrated that maybe he's a cut below the very best as well. Red Route 1, until they fix this ridiculous gate issue, he's relegated to 3rd or 4th in the Derby, and that's the best he can do. Every signal was that they were going to try to get him more forwardly placed with Tyler Gaffalione and blinkers, and none of that happened. They went back to the same old, and this time it cost him. I mean, he didn't even finish in the money. Now, you could say that maybe he doesn't need the points, so maybe he wasn't tuned up completely all the way. But regardless, he still has the same issue, and it's not improving. So if I was Steve Asmussen, I'd be putting all my eggs in Disarm's basket, because he looks like much more of a viable Derby candidate than Red Route 1 does right now. So those are the 2 preps. They answered some questions for us, and I think our Derby field is finally getting a little more solidified. We'll see what has to happen in the next couple of weeks with additions and defections. We got 3 preps coming up. The last 300 pointers. We've got the Wood Memorial, the Bluegrass, and the Santa Anita Derby. And, of course, we'll have coverage for that later this week. And, of course, if you do like what you see here, please like and subscribe. We really do appreciate the viewership. I will have later, probably either today or tomorrow, a video of the revised top 25 Derby contender list, and certainly there's going to be a lot of movement on it after this weekend. So I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.